There are places where trans women's rights and women's rights clash. Why are so many trans people so entitled? What's happened to us? Yeah, just go through puberty as an adult, nothing could go wrong there.
Why am I dancing with that trans person?
So the next thing, this is a channel called Just Mabes. I'm punching down again, I'm really sorry. 146 days, is Labour truly helping trans people? I need to declare, there's like kind of previous. Like, I don't know this person, but we know of each other. And this was the person that emailed me late at night one day. Oh, let's have a look. I can't see anything. Oh, I hope they elaborate then. Sam Harris is very far from like. What you find is you don't see a woman in the mirror because you're not one. And you either go crazy or you learn to accept what you are and not what you want to be.
The case or not, that's going on in the high courts right now in the UK. And there's just a
good, hope it gets destroyed. Hope we understand that sex in fact is important and that trans women are male.
Number of different things that have happened. Hate crime rates are still
Hate crime rates are still increasing. What's a hate crime? It's just going to be that there's more reported and they'll excuse me, and they will range from possible assault, which sucks, shouldn't be going on, all the way down to like, someone called me a tranny in the streets. So hate crimes increasing really isn't a very meaningful, it's not a very meaningful statement, you know?
Increasing, and it just doesn't seem to be changing at any stage right now. It doesn't seem to be getting any better. So let's get right into this for today. The first thing that I did want to talk about.
So based on it's never been less safe to be trans because of puberty blockers, which would help with safety for being trans because they're really not great for kids. Putting them on hormones, also not great for them. Slicing their breasts off, all that kind of stuff. Trying to get the same legal protections as women, that's crazy. We shouldn't be doing that anyway. We're not women. I have no idea what this person's saying. Like, increased hate crime reporting, like, okay, you've maybe got a quarter of a point there, depending on what's actually going on, rather than just hate crimes. Because hate crimes means fuck all by itself.
About is the High Court case that's going on right now, which is to define what a woman is. This has already been attempted, I want to say. This has already been a battle that's been fought and lost so far by a transphobic group called Sex Matters and some
transphobic group called Sex Matters. Are they transphobic? I don't know. What makes them transphobic? But because we're trans and presumably on the left, we just get to say this kind of shit. We can just say whatever we want about people with impunity. Share as much misinformation on the internet as we love. But at least people do this and then post it publicly so I can put it on my own channel and bash it, I guess. So, hey. Fuck liars. That's what we're all about. Fuck liars. Get rid of all of them.
Beneficiaries of their...
I think it's bizarre that the NHS gave you vaginoplasty before FFS. The reason for that is the NHS doesn't give you FFS. So you'll get, you can get some hair removal, you get hormones, obviously, and then you get vaginoplasty, or the male equivalent. You don't get FFS on the NHS. I've never had it. Being a woman apparently is a hate crime. Yep, soon all the women will be pissing in the men's and all the trans women will be pissing in the women's.
Cause. So that was in the Scottish courts originally, and it's now been appealed to the High Courts there. And it's an argument that a transgender woman with a gender recognition certificate, so again, a legal piece of paperwork to confirm that they are a woman.
Yes, a piece of paper. That's exactly the same as having a vagina.
And they've went through all of the legal loopholes and holes to jump through to become a woman in the legal aspect, if they would still be, in fact, legally a man, and they wouldn't be allowed to access same-sex spaces such as women's.
Well, there has to be something in between. There has to be. We can't just make it so that any trans woman is automatically a woman. Because what's a trans woman? A trans woman is anyone that calls themselves a trans woman. You shouldn't be able to take on a whole bunch of like legal protections just by calling yourself something. That seems crazy to me. Especially the opposite sex's like rights, you know what I mean?
changing rooms. They wouldn't be allowed in women's wards, for example, on hospitals. They wouldn't be allowed to access crisis centres.
I mean, with hospitals, half the time they're so fucking full all the time anyway. They don't have the resources to segregate people. So, I don't know.
If they were suffering from domestic violence or any other issues there. So this is an extremely important thing to discuss. And they wouldn't be allowed to access same-sex spaces, such as women's changing rooms. They
wouldn't be same-sex spaces. They'd be opposite-sex spaces. Because trans women are male, necessarily.
They wouldn't be allowed in women's wards, for example, on hospitals. They wouldn't be...
Oh, hi, Raps Chick. I hope you're doing well.
Allowed to access crisis centres if they were suffering from domestic violence or any other issues there. So this is an extremely important thing to discuss. Not because it's...
Listen, I've experienced domestic violence as a male. I wouldn't have been allowed in any of those shelters anyway. Should I pretend to be a woman? I don't think I should have, personally.
Not because trans people are dangerous, like Sex Matters and other organisations.
Trans women follow a similar pattern of sexual abuse as males, men.
They're trying to say, but if this goes in a way that trans people or trans women, because it doesn't really affect trans men, they're allowed to have all of their protections, but if trans women were said that they don't have the legal protections of women in the Equality Act, despite getting a gender recognition certificate even, then that leaves about... There's only been 1,000 of these certificates released since they became part of the Gender Recognition 2004 Act. Only 1,000 trans people have these certificates in the UK, and there's an approximate estimate that there's 262,000 trans people in the UK. So even before the court case even takes place, to say that if it went in our favour, to say if only trans women with a GRC had the legal protections, because it's kind of been run on the assumption that any trans woman has the protections of a woman right now, that would effectively already there, even if it's the optimistic outcome that would already be removing the rights or the assumed rights of 261 approximately 1,000 trans people.
Yeah, let's just boil it down as much as we can. Yeah, but you're removing people's rights. Like, okay, can you be a bit more vague?
In the UK, to say that they don't have the legal rights and protections of the sex that they are living as.
Just say what it is. Say what the actual issue is. It's so annoying. We have to talk in like these generalities to where I don't actually know specifically what these people are ever saying. It's so annoying.
Gender that they are living as. And that alone...
What does it mean to live as a gender?
And really is terrible. That alone is already removing the rights again from hundreds of thousands of people there. And
what about the rights of women? There are places where trans women's rights and women's rights clash. So what about that? You're putting your rights ahead of women's rights. That's what's really happening. We can bullshit around all day and highlight the amount of trans people there are. How many fucking women are in this country? What about those that don't actually feel comfortable being in an enclosed space with like males around, who don't want to hear like a male voice coming from the next stall and shit like that? What specific rights do men have that women don't? They don't have to have custody as often, so they can get rid of their kids more easily. I think that's a right or something. I don't know.
And that's assuming that it would go our way. That's assuming that trans women with a GRC, gender recognition certificate, would be seen as women then, that they can...
Emineming his way out of dignity by spouting so much nonsense. Yeah, there's a lot of long sentences here.
Keep the protections.
I'm trying to be nice, because like I said, there's like slight previous here, and I'm not, it's got nothing to do with this video, so I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to do it like that, but the problem is, these channels keep popping up, saying the exact same things, in the exact same way. I just don't get it. Why do we need so many of these people? I mean, hey, it's very affirming, it's very confirming to me that I'm doing the right thing by voicing my opinion that isn't exactly the same as every other trans person. To be honest, like, Jesus Christ, apparently I'm doing something kind of original by just saying what I think, which is crazy. This is what drove me so insane, because it's like people local to me, they're all in the cult as well. We had in this town, there was a local like trans space, like cafe venue kind of thing. And it was extremely cult. Like, their like social media presence was fucking cancerous as shit. I don't know if I can find much of it anymore. And like, I don't know if I want to keep fucking playing that kind of shit out repeatedly, because it started bothering me after a while. Like, these people are zombies. It sucks. Fuck women and their rights. Yes, exactly. How dare this person appropriate the radiator thing? I know, I'm gonna have words. There probably will be a lawsuit. Yeah.
That they have been protected by since 2010. So, of course, it's terrible, really, and this isn't the first time that...
Yeah, it's so terrible. Let's just completely ignore the other side of the equation. Let's completely ignore the group of people whose rights our rights are clashing with, which is much bigger than fucking trans people. More useful than trans people because they can actually reproduce. We fucking can't, most of us.
That this has came up since the Labour government. In my last video that we talked about on Results Day, it was found out that earlier that week, Keir Starmer did say that trans women with gender recognition certificates shouldn't be allowed to access women's toilets or female-only spaces.
You know what I mean? People always say, oh, it's going to get worse under Labour. So far, he's at least been saying the right things. Wes Streeting was the one doing the ban on puberty blockers. Like, to be honest, I think people should give them more of a chance because gender critical is not just a right-wing thing. People like J.K. Rowling and plenty of others, they're not right-wing people. Like, I don't know about this person specifically, but TRAs have been able to smear them as right-wingers for a long time and get away with it, but it's not true. Like, J.K. Rowling didn't want to, she didn't want to endorse either Reform or the Tories, despite their gender policies being very close to her own beliefs. But she's right-wing, I guess. Sure, whatever. Anyway, talk about the actual video and not shit that's tangential.
So right off the bat, we were kind of hoping again that they would leave us alone, the Labour Party, but it's through a High Court appeal. They're not...
Nah, some of us were up for this. Listen, this is what happens. This is just what happens. We've been lying for so long. We've been sucking people up into our bullshit for so long. I see they have a Call of Duty poster. You know they said the N-word at a lobby. Yep, and if I ever find it, it will be all over my channel because these people are very cagey about this kind of thing. You know who else has been doing that before they had a soy fucking channel? H-Bomber guy.
Necessarily through Labour's actions, it's already the case that we're being targeted. The BBC wrote one article about this case there, about defining what a woman is, and for the second time now in this, it's just disgusting, the article there. It doesn't mention any trans people at all. It just...
No, it's not linked. Let's have a look. It's disgusting, apparently. It doesn't mention any trans people, because we're narcissists, you see. We have to be mentioned all the time, even though we're hardly any of the population. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. The Supreme Court judges consider a ruling on the definition of women. I don't know if it's this one. We're just going to have a look. 27th of November. Hang on. Did they say when it was? We're being thorough today, okay?
Wrote one article about this case there, about defining what a woman is, and for the second time now in this, it's just disgusting.
The second time, oh, and then we stopped. I don't know. I'm going to assume it must be this. And if it's not, then she should have linked it maybe. Try linking things. Try showing us what you're talking about. It makes you seem more honest. It's a tip from me to you. Hey. Also, I'm sorry you have terrible taste in music. Okay. Supreme Court judges have retired to consider their ruling on a long-running legal battle over the definition of woman in Holyrood legislation. Is the final stage in a case between Scottish Government and campaign group For Women Scotland that could have implications for people across Britain. The dispute centres on whether trans women can be regarded as for the purposes... The dispute centres on whether the trans women can be regarded as such? I don't know. For the purposes of the Equality Act. A 2-day hearing has concluded with judges giving their ruling at a later date. The case started with a 2018 Scottish Parliament bill designed to ensure gender balance on public sector boards. Gender balance. This is the problem. Say sex instead of gender, and it's so much easier. Judges are being asked to give a definitive verdict on whether a person with a full female gender recognition certificate is a woman under the Equality Act. Groups such as For Women Scotland say the answer should be no. There's a lot of mistakes. Man, fucking BBC. And say anything different from that could affect the running of single-sex spaces, which it could, such as sports club and hospital wards. But trans people are worried that such an outcome could undermine the protections have an acquired gender, such as the ability to raise an equal pay. Okay, sure. I don't know. Ooh, trans rights now. Lovely. Scottish government argues a GRA of 2004 makes it clear a gender recognition certificate changes one's sex for all purposes. Should that be a thing? I lean towards no, if I'm honest. I lean towards no, and I can see why women don't necessarily like this. Ruth Crawford, KC, representing Holyrood ministers, told the court there was no express measure in the Equality Act to affect the GRA's wording that a certificate changes one's sex, nor is it implied by the purpose of the Act. This is disgusting, is it? What's disgusting? It's just a news article. Not that we exaggerate things, not that we complain about complete nothings all the time, not that we're bullshitting or anything.
In the article there, it doesn't mention any trans people at all. It just mentions the defence of trans people as activists, and it goes for a number of different specialists from sex matters and such who are against trans people who are allowed to talk in the article. So it's already extremely biased.
Who are allowed to talk in the article? Fucking hell. Oh, it's so cooked. Why are you so entitled? Why are you so entitled? Why are so many trans people so entitled? What's happened to us? As a tranny, I'm fed up with this. Hard fucking same. Jesus Christ.
But in this article, they pose the hypothetical situation that a cisgender man would be able to get a GRC, a gender recognition certificate, as a woman, and would then be allowed to go into same-sex spaces as...
Well, that's the implication. Don't blame them. Blame the fact that males want to be women.
A same-sex attracted woman, as a lesbian trans woman, and then be allowed to prey on other...
Listen, there are not many trans women, out there that are allowed to call themselves lesbians. If any. Some will say none at all. But like, most trans lesbians, they just all fuck each other because no one wants them, because they don't look like women. I'm a distinct minority. Like, it's a bit embarrassing referring to myself as a trans lesbian, but I'm at least dating an actual woman, so...
Other women. And does that... Only 1,000 trans people in the UK have this certificate out of 260,000. Does that not indicate how hard it is to actually get one of these certificates?
Is it that hard? Don't you just fill out some stuff and pay some money? And then as long as you've been transitioned for a while and you're able to show that you live as a woman, then that's it. Is it that hard to get? Do you know why people don't have gender recognition certificates? You could ask some people. Wow, asking trans people about trans shit. What a fucking novel concept. You were just complaining about that. And now you don't even know why it is that people don't have GRCs. For me, for example, I just couldn't be fucked. I didn't want to spend the money. I haven't had huge amounts of money in my life, so I tended to save it for other stuff than a little piece of paper saying, you're a woman, which I'm going to end up disagreeing with anyway someday, because this shit doesn't really work that way. Yeah, if it's delaying, just refresh. I don't know why it does that. It seems to work though.
And the BBC still decided to release that. The BBC
Okay, this is Women's Scotland, so it's possible they're just getting them mixed up, which I'm not, that's whatever. People do that. Like, oh, they still posted it anyway. If it is this one, the thing is, they're being so fucking unclear on which fucking article it is. I'm like gaslighting myself because of it. Because I don't like getting stuff wrong. I don't like misrepresenting people who fucking hate me anyway. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so fucking charitable to anyone. Anyway. I'll have one more look to see if there's another article that I missed. Transgender volleyball player. Fucking hell. Yeah, we need men in our volleyball tournaments, definitely. Supreme Court hearing case. Oh, there's several of these. They said it was one, and there's several of them. Self-ID is disastrous. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm glad it didn't come through here. They tried to do it in Scotland. There was a person who was leading that called Humza Yousaf, and he was not very popular. He tried to get self-ID in Scotland, and it was rejected by England. He managed to expand like hate crime laws or something crazy, and then got fucking ousted because even the Green Party was sick of working with him, which is bizarre, but okay. Oh, we got a progress flag. Nice. Is it this one? For Women Scotland again. They're saying sex matters, but they could just be mixed up. There are quite a few of these groups, to be fair. Oh, hey, Sky. Yeah, 1.3. It's fucking happening, isn't it? Good to see you. Life is hard. Why did it say that? No to self-ID. Yeah, all trans means is identifying as something now. I'm not sure on this. Not being clear what the article is. I don't see anything disgusting in either of these. I don't see what the problem is, but this person, I'm guessing, is a bit of a TRA, so is what it is, you know? Is what it is. You expect lies, because that's all activists have ever been doing, is lying. And we wonder why things are going wrong. We wonder why this castle that we built on sand is falling down. I could tell you in fucking 10 seconds. A good proportion of the problem. But hey, people don't listen to me. That's the thing. They just want to tell me to shut the fuck up every time. And it's not working anymore because I've got a fucking YouTube channel, haven't I? Fuck you. Try and stop me from fucking talking on here. Yeah. I dare you. Anyway.
Still wants to try and lead that narrative, and that's not the first time.
Lead that narrative? They're just doing a fucking... It's just an article. Like... This is like schizo.
That the BBC have talked about trans women predating on other women as...
Trans MTF, a cis man, and some will have GRCs. Kira Bell is stuck legally as male because it's much harder to undo than do it. Fuck. Well, there we go. It's weird that this person didn't mention any of that. You think they want to sort of provide all aspects of the truth about this issue because it's important to be as accurate as possible, but we're trans, so it's not. It's actually important to lie as much as we can.
As lesbians or on lesbians in general there. They released another horrific article that they refused to apologise about that exact... Still wants to try and lead that narrative, and that's not the first time that the BBC have talked about trans women predating on other women as lesbians or on...
Oh, I think I remember this article. It was a while ago.
On lesbians in general there. They released another horrific article.
Horrific. Mate, get some real problems. I beg you. I fucking beg you, get some real problems. It's okay. It really is. It's okay. I'll even forgive you for fucking yeeting me off fucking Pride, even though I fucking hate that shit now anyway. It's okay. Just get some real problems and you're sorted.
That they refused to apologise about that exact situation before, and the fact that the media in the UK...
Yeah, so don't read them and go read fucking Pink News or the Metro or fucking Erin in the Morning or something. Just read the media you actually like then. Who fucking cares?
Talk about this stuff without getting told off, without complaints being written or having any action for. That puts a huge target on trans people's backs. It's accusing us of being...
Does it? Does it really? Was it accusing every trans person? Because I tell you what, I remember this article. Nothing happened to me afterwards. And I'm a trans lesbian, apparently. So, I don't know. Like, telling us something specific would be quite nice. You know what I mean? It was 7:15 into this fucking video. And I've had to look up this shit myself. I don't even know if I'm reading the right things. Pink News. Ew, yes, exactly. The Y sperm that survives longer better than X sperm. Not sure about frozen embryos. Oh, I think I missed something. Fair enough.
Predators, essentially. It's absolutely horrific.
Essentially. Listen, I can't be asked looking up yet another article. I do remember it. The thing is, if I read it now, I probably wouldn't have much of a problem with it. And, you know, if lesbians don't want to date males, I'm sure the Metro is like woke as fuck. I could be wrong, but I'm sure it is. Yeah, they're essentializing. They said essentially. Like, what more do I need? We've seen 2 articles that are nothing. I don't even know which one they're referring to. It's not hard to make a leap of faith that they're probably fucking around with this as well.
That's being said right now. And again, but this is whilst the court case is going on. This is before it's even been decided yet. I hope that, of course, because it's already been prevented in the Scottish courts before being taken up by the High Court. I really do hope that this does have the same loss there, and it's just an amount of wasted money from sex matters and their wealthy benefactors such as J.K.
Wealthy benefactors. Do we want to talk about Reed Erickson? Who else were we talking about earlier? Soros, maybe? I don't know what Soros does with this kind of shit. There was someone mentioning people earlier that were like funding stuff. Please mention them again so I can point them out.
Rowling, who donated about £70,000 towards this cause to be able to appeal this to them.
What a bitch. I mean, Jesus Christ, a woman caring about women's issues? Terrible. By the way, J.K. Rowling is not transphobic.
The High Court. Hopefully, again, it does go wrong, but even if it is in support of trans people and their case, their precedent they're trying to start does go wrong, what about all the trans women that don't have GRCs? Does that mean that we're not allowed to use changing rooms? Is that something that's still going to be enforced?
What he's implying is basically media outlets cannot report events because it hurts trans lesbians. Yeah, it's the whole, oh, if you say anything bad about trans people, then we'll all get murdered in the streets tomorrow. Yes, I'm exaggerating, but this is practically how they word things. I mean, we've heard how much exaggeration so far? Pritzker and Rothblatt, yes. There we go. Should we talk about them as well as the people I just mentioned? Fun. Yeah, I need to look them up. Rothblatt is evil IMO. Have you talked about them at all, Sky? I'd be interested in looking if so.
And we just don't know really, but that does seem to be the entire...
I'll be honest, I don't mind the eyebrows. I think they probably have promise. She should... I mean, I don't get it. You're a trans woman, you go on cam, you don't put a bit of mascara on, do your eyebrows? Really? But I can't just shit on her for that. It's all of them, pretty much. And if it's not that, then it's fucking, it's this thick, you know what I mean? Fox and owl. J.K. Rowling addresses the difference in lived life experience of cis women and trans women. Yeah, I don't think J.K. Rowling is transphobic. I think we have been extremely gaslit on that thing. I watched the ContraPoints video, and it sucks. The ContraPoints JKR video, it's one of the worst fucking things I've ever watched. The only reason it's not the worst thing I've watched is because other people have made even worse videos about it. Oh, it's okay, Raps joke. A lot of people get surprised at first.
Interpretation already that is...
Yeah, see, Aaron Reed, there's some concerning as fuck eyebrows. Those are fucking chips. As in what we call chips. You know, just stuck to her face in coloured brown. That's what they remind me of.
Being pointed out there, and again, it's terrifying. It's not easy to get a
terrifying. Again, I remember this happening. Nothing has ever happened to me. I'm a trans lesbian. I used to leave my house a lot more than I do now. Nothing ever happened to me. I'm not oppressed. Can I get you to say the same thing, just Mabes? That you were not oppressed because you're white and British?
Gender recognition certificate, you have to have evidence of at least 2 years of living as your identified gender. That means you'd have to transition onwards of 2 years at least. And that's...
Oh no, they want evidence? You just want... It sounds like you do want men to just fucking get a thing and, hey, I'm a woman now. 2 years, oh no, we're so entitled. Oh, just give me everything now.
Living completely in the female role and as having your name changed.
Which you can't do, by the way. You don't live in the female role. You are just referred to as female by other people because you mimic women. That's all I'm doing. I'm sorry, I've come out the other side and realised it's bullshit. What do you want me to say?
That being with your work, that being through your doctors and such.
Fake cut chips. Yes, thank you, Mischief. Someone gets me. That's why I keep you around.
I don't think you need to take HRT, but you definitely need to speak to specialists.
Okay, so you've still got testosterone going through your system and you've still got a penis, but you should be able to get a GRC? Nah, I disagree. Hard disagree.
It takes years. And again, the BBC think that they can write an article saying that at least there's the possibility that a man could get that certificate to then be able to predate on vulnerable women. Men...
How do you know they're not going to do that? How do you know?
Don't need to do that. They're already able to predate on women.
That doesn't mean that none of them are going to try doing it via single-sex spaces that they might have to work a bit harder to get into. Fucking hell. How many times... we see enough, cases of trans women doing, shit to people. It comes off that, they're not really serious about their transitioning. Most trans people are not very serious about their transitioning. I don't know what it's actually about. Because I've been conclusively fucking shut out of any kind of like trans community, and that's fine. I was keeping my distance anyway. You know, I'm the kind of person I give them another chance and another chance and another chance, and it's still always just a problem. So it's like, fuck you then.
And get sentences of crimes of as low as 3 years, whereas if you damage a statue in this country, if you damage Margaret Thatcher's statue, you could get up to 7 years in prison. Women already aren't protected by men at this stage.
Look at the rate of sexual offences by trans women, especially you compare it to how it works with men. It's more similar than you think. They don't want males in bathrooms, some of them, because they feel like these trans people, they've got a much higher chance of doing something because trans women's offense rate for sexual crimes is much, much closer to men's than it is women's.
It's completely ridiculous. It's farcical that we are having to have this discussion there, this discussion.
PG UK, I've never been there. I wouldn't last long there. I would be ousted before any time whatsoever because that always happens to me in those kind of spaces. The most recent experience of that was fucking Alec Gunter's Discord. I went in there to like ask him about debating sometime, and then all his fucking weird trans friends like start fucking targeting me. None of his fucking cis people who go on to debate him, they don't seem to fucking target them. Maybe they do, I don't know. I didn't spend enough time in there to find out. But it's really weird, and it's quite transphobic.
This discussion in court about a GRC.
Yeah, see, I'm jealous of your cat. It's like I'm jealous of my guinea pig because she just gets to sit there and eat vegetables and shit like that. And the rest of us, Tara J demanded a debate with you again. They would go wipe the floor with you and go 4 shots. 19 watts. Crazy. UK leftists stop obsessing over UK leftists stop obsessing over Margaret Thatcher a decade after her death challenge. Yep, true. We don't know every trans woman that walks into a bathroom. True, you don't really know if that's a trans woman, if they've had surgery, if they've got HRT boobs, or if they're just a full-on man.
About trans people that make less than 5% of the population.
Well, then it's kind of easier to fuck us over, unfortunately. We're a tiny minority, yeah, and we're the ones choosing to go from one sex to another. So we're the ones making it difficult. So it makes sense, to be honest, that we take second fiddle when it comes to women's rights before women. You know what I mean? They should probably come first.
Tiny minority, and that we're still being coloured as being dangerous in some way.
I've explained it enough fucking times, man. This is the thing, though. These people just sit and talk to themselves all day. So they don't know. They don't hear these kind of opinions. They don't know this kind of stuff. Because it's not like their media is going to be reporting about things like trans women, the trans woman rape rate or something, you know? Mad.
Either by having the protections of a woman and being able to...
By the way, we're almost 10 minutes in. This is supposed to be about Labour truly helping trans people. I got a fucking article up to prepare, and it's like, I feel like a silly fucking bugger now. Fucking hell.
Use the toilets that sign with our gender there, compared to not being forced to use the men's toilets and be in huger amounts of danger ourselves. What
danger? What danger are you in from using the men's? See, they're not even that far away. There's a reason. There's a reason. We're in danger if we use the men's, but we can't understand why women feel the same way around us. Oh my God. Oh my God. What has happened to trans people? Why are you all so fucking cooked in the head? What has happened? This is exactly why I started my shit. This is exactly why I'm at the point I am now. Because everyone I come across, especially like fucking locally, weirdly enough, they're all crazy. They all think this kind of shit.
The next part of this video that I wanted to go over was, I was a bit worried to just lump this all together as a segment about Wes Streeting, but it is going to feature mainly on this politician now, the Health Secretary for the new Labour government.
Wes Streeting. Ooh. There we go. Fucked it up a bit, but it's fine.
Now, he used to have a reasonably good track record, I'd like to say. He's a member of the LGBT community. He's, to my knowledge, he's got a male partner, so to my knowledge, I believe he's gay, or he could be bisexual.
Wow, amazing deduction.
And previously, again, he would say quite proudly that trans women are women, trans men are men. But over the past
Proudly, wrongly.
couple of years or so, where he's been getting more traction, really, he's becoming more well known, especially now he is the health secretary. He seems to be going down a different path. So shortly,
I wonder if she's going to try and explain why in any way, shape or form. My guess is going to be no, just he's bad now.
Before the election, he admitted to being wrong about trans women being written
Wrong?
being women, and saying that these days he wouldn't say that, which again is already disappointing. That it's already throwing us under the bus there.
Throwing us under the bus? Throwing us under the bus? How?
He's talked about plans to have trans women treated in different wards or separate rooms to women's wards in NHS.
Yeah, the thing is, I've been telling the truth in dribs and drabs for years now. And what I find is, like, most of my cis friends seem perfectly fine with what I'm saying, especially when I'm trying to put out that everyone who plays fucking Hogwarts Legacy is not a terrible transphobe that we need to fucking pillory. But, like, my trans friends just don't get it. So they're not my friends anymore. Like, big fucking whoop. I don't give a shit anyway.
NHS hospitals, I believe that was in April, so there's not really been much talk of that since the election. But again, it's fairly concerning considering, of course, the last place you want to be in a hospital is being treated in the middle of a hallway. And he seems to think there's enough rooms to fit
Is that what's going to happen?
trans women exclusively, whilst other people are being treated in hallways in hospitals right now. So that's very concerning too. But
Is that what's happening? I'd need a source on that.
that's not really been talked about in the new government. So we'll have to come to that to another video. Unfortunately, a big thing that has happened in the last few months is that just before the election, there was something released called the cast review. We could do a whole video.
Based, yes. Cast review, yes, please go into it. I would love to rip you to shreds on that shit. Actually, no. Just watch my Torren Max debate.
About the cast review and its implications for younger trans people. But from the cast review there itself, it's hard not to talk about because it's so biased against trans people.
So biased against trans people. Cooked. You are cooked, my friend.
But it's being used to ban puberty blockers, for example, and go over other recommendations for younger trans people and their treatments. And unfortunately from this, there was a ban on puberty blockers to be used for...
It wasn't even from the cast review. They went actually above and beyond what the cast review said. The cast review was just a bunch of recommendations. If you actually read the recommendations that they make, you know, the conclusions, the points, the vast majority of them are very sensible.
For trans people. This doesn't include a ban on the same medications when used for precocious puberties though.
Oh, we're going to compare precocious puberty, precocious. We're going to compare trans healthcare to precocious puberty and be like, well, cis people get to have their medication and we don't. That's because precocious puberty and transitioning as a child is not the same fucking thing. It doesn't matter how many Swedish fucks on glupshito fucking podcasts go on about how it's the same thing and it's so unfair. It doesn't matter. It's not the same thing. It's completely not the same thing.
When puberty starts too early and it needs to be stopped to make sure that bone growth plates aren't being disrupted or anything like that.
Exactly. So you even know that it's not the same thing.
So it's just a ban for trans people there.
Just a ban for trans people. Well, no, it's a ban for the specific... Why is everyone that isn't me so stupid? Everyone that isn't me and isn't watching me. Sorry. I love all of you. You're all amazing.
It was temporarily set to be a ban until September of 2024, but Labour from going in did extend this ban to November, and they've extended it again, actually. It was extended again, a temporary ban from the 6th of November. It's been extended since from, and they have discussed plans to make this puberty blocker ban permanent. This is deeply distressing for younger trans people. Well, of course,
Why are you so invested in young people transitioning? Is it one of these live vicariously thing? Yes, smash the likes. Thank you, Cassie. Hit the like button. You go down and like.
Ban permanent. This is deeply distressing for younger trans people. Well,
yeah, there's so many like trans women like older ones, I'll say, like this person's probably younger than I am, that's fair enough, but like, they seem like very invested in other people being able to like not go through their natural puberty. It feels really weird. It feels really weird that like, it's almost like some of them want to live vicariously through this shit. Like I think it was someone called Media, like talking to Sophie Molly. The two of them, the way they were talking about it, like so many trans women seem adamant that if they'd have gone through puberty blockers and shit, they'd be so much happier and healthier and stuff. And they don't know this. Like we're still finding out what the end point, what the other side of transitioning children is. Because it's only been going on so long, you know?
Of course, for people that might not know, as a trans person, which you could be aware of for your body as early as 6 or 4 years old either.
What does that mean, first of all? Second of all, doesn't your gender identity, your identity in general, doesn't it change as you grow older? Shouldn't that suggest that maybe you don't want to pin it down and be like, no, I'm transitioning, so I'm this from now on? And also, what happens if they change their mind? What happens if they get procedures done really early that permanently affect their bodies? What happens if they change their mind? What happens if they get older and realize that they've completely changed, possibly fucked their body up based on a decision they made as a child? I think this is like, I couldn't live with myself, like fucking hell. I couldn't push this in good conscience. I don't know how anyone can.
To go through.
Hey Mabes, what did you want to be when you were 6 years old? What did you think you were when you were 6 years old?
Puberty means that your body is being forcibly changed into, or to look like the gender.
Forcibly changed. It's a natural process. You were born a long time ago with that kind of information in you. Forcibly changed. Why do we talk this way? Oh my God. This is very convenient for me that this person is dumb as fuck. Because I was worried I was going to have to be nice and be like, you know what, I think you're a bit of a prick for just removing my band over my Twitter and not even talking to me about it, but at least you're sensible. But no, I guess I'm lucky because this person is dumb as a fucking brick.
The biological sex that you do not identify as. So this is...
Who cares what you identify as? Fuck me. Why does that overtake your sex? Your sex determines a hell of a lot of fucking things about you, whether you like it or not.
An extremely distressing time for trans people, and the only really relief that...
Why would it be depressing for trans people? Like, a bunch of us have already gone through the fucking system. And most of us aren't kids. We shouldn't... I don't even know why I'm entertaining this. Like, I don't even know why this has been normalized. You know what I mean? Transitioning children. I wanted to be a fucking Formula 1 driver when I was a kid. Ask me about Formula 1 today. I don't know fuck all about it, because I'm not interested in it anymore. I was a little autistic kid that used to get fixated on tiny little things that I'd care about for like a year or something and then move on. Like, this is preposterous. And autistic people are more likely to be transitioned. It's like, oh God. Oh, it's just so cooked. Oh, I'm actually losing my fucking mind. This is truly despicable. I fully agree with you.
That you could have, understandably, because some young people do change their mind, would be puberty blockers. This stops the...
No, it doesn't. It's not giving people time so that they can change their mind. Overwhelmingly, they continue with their transition because usually they're being socially transitioned, meaning they're being constantly affirmed. Affirmation is a powerful thing. What would this person be without all their other trans friends or even cis friends calling them a woman and calling them their chosen name? They'd feel rather different, I would have thought, because that's what I experienced. I used to get affirmed fucking constantly. I felt like a woman because people treated me like one, and it stopped happening. And I couldn't deal with it. Which is not how it's supposed to be fucking done. It's not how you're supposed to do things. Oh, I can't. I'm gonna finish this video, I don't care. I'm gonna finish it, even if I spend 2 hours just shouting about every tiny thing that annoys me.
Masculinization or the feminization of the body temporarily, so that it gives these young people to make up their minds to decide whether they are trans or not trans. And
You're lying. This isn't true at all.
And then after reaching adulthood, after going above 18 years or more, they can then, again, if they've realised they're not trans, they can just stop the puberty blockers and their normal puberty.
Oh, and they can just have puberty at 18 years old. Yeah, that's not going to cause any problems. Going through puberty at 18. Who goes through fucking puberty at 18 years old? Sorry, I'm getting like too fucking tilted. But really though, like, yeah, just go through puberty as an adult. Nothing could go wrong there. Do you know anything about this at all? What fucking advice do you think you're giving to people?
Puberty will continue, or it can then allow them to have the
Yeah, you're at uni and you can drink and shit, but you're still going through puberty. What the fuck? Is there absolutely no chance that anything could go wrong there?
foundations there without being extremely distressed, but to then go on to cross-sex hormones, so estrogen for women, testosterone for boys, and it leads to significantly better outcomes, because if you've not already...
Does it? How so? Why? Because they're less suicidal? What does that even fucking mean?
been masculinized, if your voice, like my voice, hasn't already been deepened by testosterone.
You know, you can talk louder, you can talk higher. Oh my god, hi, I'm Mary. Oh my god. Mid asking a girl out and your balls drop. Fucking hell.
Your puberty's been blocked. It leads to a far better outcome when you do then transition. So it's been since...
Yeah, we can just say that with impunity. Is there anything linked here? Nope. Because if there was anything linked here, I could pick it apart and be like, well, that really doesn't show what you're saying. Maybe suggest it a little bit. It's probably not based on amazing data.
Since they first been used, really, since the 70s or so, it's been held as the gold standard for trans care, which we've had in the UK. Against, like my voice hasn't already been deepened by testosterone because your puberty's been blocked. It leads to a far better outcome when you do then transition.
Yeah, they think that they know this. If this person had gone through puberty blockers and that kind of thing, they could be completely different. They could be dead by now because you don't know how different things are going to affect you. The unique human element of this gets completely wiped under the table because we've read studies that say, oh, well, trans people are 50% less suicidal because they had puberty blockers or whatever, you know?
So it's been, since they first been used, really, since the 70s or so, it's been held as the gold standard for trans...
Held as by who? Fucking WPATH? Who the fuck cares what WPATH thinks?
care, which we've had in the UK against...
You ain't gonna die from an ugly voice. True. I've been just fine.
Since the 70s or so in other European countries. And suddenly, from a cast review, again, which is really hard to talk about...
Since the 70s, most of, like, the booming of, like, the puberty blockers thing came from the Dutch study. That was, like, 10 years ago. Like, yeah, it's probably been done before that, but, like gold standard? How many trans kids were there before like the Dutch protocol? How many were there?
Because it was so biased against trans people with the studies they chosen, and only UK studies, not international studies, they found that this was...
Yeah, they didn't pick fucking Dr. Cal Horton's shitty fucking study. Oh no. None of you wokoids who know nothing about science got to have a say. Delayed puberty is awful to see. You go through it at high speed and all the emotions crash like a wave. Lady I knew went through puberty at 23. She went through mousy little girl to sex fiend. Jesus Christ. Blockers weren't developed for this. No, they were developed as... Wasn't it something to do with like, fuck, what was it? Prostate cancer or something? Like an issue with the prostate, and then they were taken on to use as precocious puberty. And then it got taken on for trans. Because here's the thing. That's why they were all running around saying 100% reversible, 100% reversible, including my local fucking cult outlet. And it's not true. They're basing it all on older fucking data, older uses and stuff like that. Oh, hi, Raiders Cat. Happy Friday.
Was suddenly not the best way to go, and that it was in fact, now some media people have been saying forever that this has been a great experiment on young people, but ultimately it was the decision that puberty blockers would be banned, and it was only going to be a temporary ban. But Labour now do want to make this permanent. Already in a way they are making it a permanent ban because they just keep on changing and renewing the...
You'll fucking doubt me all the time, but we're here with Keir. He's fucking doing it. Say what you want about him. He's fucking doing it.
Temporary extensions. To make that temporary extension permanent, they need to...
It seems a bit bizarre obsession, horrible hill to die on, yes, very much. Lots of MTFs looking back at their own transitions, retconning their stories, thinking it would be perfect if only. Yeah, so many of them do it. It's so weird. Like, I don't really want to speculate on what could have been anymore. I don't really want to speculate on, oh, I wish I didn't have puberty. I wish testosterone didn't lower my voice. When it's like, actually, I'm pretty much fine with who I am. And I'm not unhappy And I've been able to get an okay life going, which for me is a fucking hell of an achievement because I have some issues that I have to deal with, you know? But, you know, it's I don't know. Just nothing's good enough, I guess. If you're not happy with yourself, then being trans is not going to fix it because you're just not going to be happy as a trans person either. You're still you. People think they can escape themselves. People think they can fix all their problems by becoming a woman. Well, you don't become a woman and you don't fix your problems either, so... I don't know. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say? We'll just continue filling each other's heads with shit via terrible YouTube channels.
They need to lay that out in Parliament, so they need to go through a parliamentary procedure, which is why they keep on just making the temporary ban go on and on and on. And yeah, again, it's extremely distressing for trans people. It's led to a huge spike in trans people, younger trans people. These are teenagers, these are kids who are calling mental health helplines, who are considering...
Ellen Page wrote a book retconning every thought, every event, the fact today's a man. Jesus Christ. Like, the only time I remember, like, as a kid having thoughts, I don't know, was I like 6 or 7 or something, feeling like I'd rather have been born a girl? But it didn't like take over my whole life. It was when I moved away and didn't have anything anymore that things got difficult. And it's weird that that kind of spurred me into it and then kind of got me out of it again. Because I guess my state of mind has detransitioned, certainly.
During suicide or self-harming, or really things that are... Yeah, again, it's extremely distressing for trans people. It's led to a huge spike in trans people, younger trans people. These are teenagers, these are kids who are calling mental health helplines, who are considering...
Calling mental health helplines. I think there's a rise in general of mental health issues. That's not unique to trans people. It's definitely not. Fucking everyone has ADHD now. I bet this person does.
During suicide or self-harming, or really...
Like in suicide. Has there been? Has there been? You're not showing anything. I don't know if I believe you. But hey, this isn't for people like me. This is for people within the cult to continue grasping desperately at their sinking ship, which you were all on, that you all can't stop fucking stabbing holes in. I ain't fucking on that ship anymore, sorry.
Really things that are hugely prevalent in the trans community, in the younger trans community especially, because...
What? Trans communities aren't very good for people with mental health issues? Wait, I'm a trans person with quite severe mental health issues. And I've had pretty terrible experiences of trans communities. It's interesting that. It's interesting. You know what? It's interesting. It's interesting how you have mental health issues. You get fucking hell. You get isolated because of it. Where's the data of the suicide? Nowhere. From what I can tell, there was all these conspiracy theories about something called the Tavistock 16, suggesting that 16 kids had killed themselves since the puberty blockers ban in 2021, I think, in the years afterwards. The government was able to confirm about 6 or 7. And like a bunch of them were nothing to do with being trans. They're just being added in there to make it seem worse than it is. I think the years before it was 4 or 5. So like a small, very small, not good, you know, it's still sad. Like there shouldn't be an increase at all. There shouldn't be any ideally. But like, Jesus Christ. It's such a bullshit thing. And it's manipulative as fuck as well.
Because of how hard it is to access help, it's after the door being closed when the main help...
Because of it's being hard. Like there's no other issue it could be. Like these people don't have other issues in conjunction. Half of the time, which get ignored because they want to believe in their fucking trans shit. They want that to be the cause for all their problems. And it's not going to be. And that's going to fuck them up, unfortunately. Because they're going to realize that at some point. Ethel really loves that conspiracy. Yep. Fuck essence of thought. Terrible, terrible human being.
People, younger trans people, these are teenagers, these are kids who are calling mental health helplines, who are considering suicide, who are self-harming, or really things that are hugely prevalent in the trans community, in the younger trans community.
You're being manipulative.
Especially because of how hard it is to access help. It's after the door being...
Yeah, they don't know this. They're just making this up because it is the best sounding thing.
Closed when the main help that there could be that you could hope to get once you get through all the waiting lists. So after that being stopped, the mental health crisis in the trans community is skyrocketing. And it's disgusting.
Is it because of that? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, trans people are more likely to experience poverty. They're more likely to experience isolation. So therefore, it's really bizarre how people like this are fine gatekeeping their own shit, but then complain about gatekeeping when it's anything else. It's interesting that. It's interesting. So not that I'm trying to make a point or anything. There's so many other things to consider before we get to the healthcare thing. And there's also data suggests that between 60 and 90% of kids tend to desist through puberty anyway. It's cooked. And she's not going to mention any of that. She probably didn't even know any of that because these people get their news from very specific fucking sources that bullshit them so that they can bullshit us. A bike against a radiator, that's just abusive. That's terrible. Like, radiators are precious things, okay? Listen, I'll just, here you go. That's a radiator. That's what it should be like. There we go. It's a bit smaller than hers, but apart from that. I just can't get behind speculating on and using the suicide of a child to push my political beliefs. Do you know why that is, Snowfall? It's because you're not a psychopath.
It really does feel like with the government, first through the Conservative government, but now through the Labour government, it really does feel like they just can't see the level of suffering that they are seeing. And
well, maybe if more people make these kind of channels and lie about a bunch of stuff, they will.
the CAS review, whilst it was only a review into the healthcare systems for trans people up to the age of 17, stroke going on to 18, it's actually been cited for the stopping of medication or surgery referrals for people older than this. So in a Scottish gender identity clinic called the Chalmers GIC, since October, the referrals from 18 to 25-year-olds for surgery...
Yeah, sadly, we're not listing sources, so Carabio, Reed, yeah, probably.
Surgery, again, gender-affirming surgery, have been paused. Their referrals have been stopped, so they're not going through the year-long waiting lists there are anyway. They're just stopped until they turn age 25. And the reason they're citing is the CAS review. So they're citing a review only for...
Wait, what?
Again, gender referrals for people older than this. Actually been cited for the stopping of medication or surgery referrals for people older than this. So in a Scottish gender identity clinic called the Chalmers GIC, since October, the referrals from 18 to 25-year-olds for surgery, again, gender-affirming surgery, have been paused. Their referrals have been stopped, so they're not going through the year-long waiting lists there are anyway. They're just stopped until they turn age 25. And the reason they're citing is the CAS review. So they're citing a review only for trans kids, basically, for trans adults, that they're arguing being...
There's going to be a review of trans adults because the GICs didn't want to hand over any information to CAS. So there's another one called the Levy review or the Levy review, I don't know which. So that's coming. We're going to get more shit and we deserve it because our shit has been run terribly and we insist on sticking up for it anyway. We insist on lying. If you're going to insist on lying, you deserve what happens. And it sucks that plenty of innocent trans people get caught up in that shit who genuinely are actually just trying to live their lives. I'm not really doing that anymore. I'm on here. This person isn't doing that. She's on here. But some of them are. And it sucks for them. But these bullshit artists, they fucking deserve this. And it sucks that it's my shit too, technically, quite honestly. I wish I wasn't fucking trans because I hate having anything in common with people like this.
Younger adults, that they've not said this yet, they've just cited the CAS review, but saying that they're not ready to go through with their transition, which again...
Well, I mean, your brain doesn't really stop developing until 25, if not longer. There isn't no reason for this. But the only reason these people will ever entertain is because people hate trans people, which is a made-up reason. It's bullshit. You know, if I'm using the word bullshit a lot, it's because I'm being fed a lot of bullshit.
And it's completely ridiculous, and the Labour government shouldn't be letting this happen, but it is happening right now under their care.
Why not?
And... it's ridiculous. Imagine telling an 18...
I know, I'll just do the rest of the stream just playing things, just like, well, that's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
18-year-old, if they started university, that all of a sudden their mind wasn't ready, their brain wasn't ready for that adult decision, that permanent adult decision, and they were kicked out of university.
Permanent adult decision, which is what it is, yeah.
That's what's going on with their surgery adult. Imagine telling an 18-year-old, if they started university, that all of a sudden their mind wasn't ready, their brain wasn't ready for that adult decision, that permanent adult decision.
Oh, analogies, our favourite thing.
And they were kicked out of university.
Yeah, going to university is going to university. My university, I don't know about yours, they didn't fucking do my vaginoplasty on me without consent. Like, what is this comparison?
That's what's going on with their surgery referrals being stopped. So I'm 22 right now, and I'm hoping to get put on a waiting list. And my transition, that's been going on since I was 17, could be stopped with hoping to eventually get surgery referral, because it should, fingers crossed, fingers bloody crossed, that it does happen on waiting lists before I turn 25. But at the same time, again, as a 22-year-old, I'm currently applying for my first ever mortgage to purchase my first home. Imagine if I stopped paying that mortgage and said, well, you can't kick me out.
22 and already buying a house, and you're white and British living in white Britain, complaining about like oppression. Like, Jesus Christ, you have it so good. You don't even realize. You don't even fucking realize. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't really get your surgery and shit until you're in your later 20s. I got my surgery when I was 27. I'm fine. The brain isn't done developing at 22, which at least excuses something in this person's case. I'll give them that.
This property, you can't repossess my home. I'm under the age of 25. My brain wasn't ready yet to make this decision. So,
bruv, this is stupid fucking. This is stupid. Buying a home, going to university, those things don't like sterilize you and shit. Those things don't do permanent changes to your body that you might change your mind on, you know?
So I'm not going to pay the loan that I've taken out, and I'm just going to keep this house. It's ridiculous. And again, that's completely what they're saying there. They're trying to just patronise.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You just have a victim complex. You think that way. It's because you don't have any real problems. You're 22 and you're buying a house. You're white and British. You're absolutely fucking fine. Stop bitching.
And infantilise people my age or 18 or older into saying that they're not ready, which
You're infantilizing everyone else. Who fucking cares at that point? Fuck me.
Isn't even what the cast review was for. But again, it's completely ridiculous. This it's been had to be looked into in an extremely complex way because they wouldn't even tell patients of the Chalmers GIC that this was happening. I believe MPs or counsellors had to get involved from patients writing to them about their referrals to see what's going on because they just weren't hearing anything. So again, it's already leading into this new government. It's only 4 or 5 month-year-old government at this stage. It's already leading into tremendous consequences there, and we don't even know how bad it's going to be.
Tremendous consequences, and yet this person is fine. I don't see any suffering on this person. The only suffering I see is your mind being utterly fucking poisoned. This person reminds you of Oren Jones. Jesus Christ. I've seen so many people, perfectly healthy people go to uni and come out screwed up physically. Yeah, I guess, yeah. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
And again, this is just the start of the government, but from us...
You know, if this person didn't pay attention to this kind of shit, their life would go on just fine. They'd probably be happier. This is like self-defeating. It's the kind of thing that you get into and it ruins your mental health, but you can't stop obsessing over it. Just stop. Just put it away. Is he really buying the house or is it mortgage? I think it's a mortgage, but like, I don't know many 22-year-olds with mortgages. Jesus Christ. Like 22 getting a mortgage, that's not bad going. This person really doesn't have much to complain about. And that presumably is why they're going so fucking ham on this. This is the thing. I have actual things to complain about. I have actual serious fucking issues in my brain. And no one can be fucked to understand. Like, if there's an issue, they just, oh, fuck you then. And that's just what I experience with trans people. I actually have real problems. And somehow, I'm not oppressed. When I hear about all this scaremongering shit that this person comes out with, I correctly identify it as scaremongering because I know what it is. I'm not oppressed. I'm fine. I'm also white. I'm also in my own country of birth. It's just ridiculous. Listen, maybe I am becoming this person. Maybe I should just sit here and be like, oh, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You don't have any real problems.
Hoping that it was at least a sigh of relief for trans people, it's taking a complete U-turn. It feels like things are getting so much worse under the Labour government as things were getting in the Tory.
Then log off. Log off. Go for a bike ride. Hang out with some friends and talk about anything else. And you'll realise it's just an illusion. You're just hyper-vigilant about stuff that might affect you, might not. Whether it does or not, it's going to anyway. And things are going to get better and worse and go up and down because of a fucking huge number of reasons. You're 22 and have a mortgage. It's about the same cost as an apartment. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anyone my age that had one. Maybe it's easier for Zoomers in a way. I don't know. I mean, I never would have been able to afford a house. Like, mine was... This place does belong to me, but I didn't go the way most people have to. Because, hey, I've got my own privileges, you know, I understand that. And this person is also privileged. Deposit is the bit people can't afford. Okay.
Tory party, it just feels like it's not changing. Lastly, one thing that I did want to talk about, which isn't necessarily a bad thing at this stage, it's more of an update in a way to something that's been going on or promised for several years now, several prime ministers.
By the way, trans women, stop doing this. Stop doing this. You see how much I'm showing off my shitty as fuck hairline? Just stop doing it. It looks terrible. Especially if you haven't washed your hair. By the way, I washed mine today. I can say what I want about other people's.
Is a ban on conversion therapy. So a conversion therapy ban in the UK has been a really dramatic piece of proposed legislation. It's been...
Yeah, it's a waste of time. What conversion therapy actually happens in the UK? That's the first thing. The second thing is, what do you consider to be conversion therapy? Because there's been this whole propaganda campaign to make it so that any alternative therapies are automatically conversion therapy. That's what the actual goal of this push to get rid of conversion therapy seems to be about. What actually happens in the UK?
Promised since, I believe, if I get this right, it's been promised since Theresa May that there would be a ban on conversion therapy, and it's just been kicked in the long grass since. So with Boris Johnson, since then he said that he'd ban conversion therapy, and then he said he'd ban...
Yeah, but there's none going on. And what you're saying is going on isn't true. The sisters, I have no idea, I'm sorry.
Conversion therapy for lesbians, gays and bisexuals, but he wouldn't ban conversion therapy for transgender people, which caused a very large outcry.
Yes, because we keep lying about what conversion therapy even is. Have we proved that there's any going on? Like, if I search it, it's just going to be all about the ban, surely. I mean, I'll find out, Jesus Christ. What is conversion therapy? Repetitive therapy or gay cure therapy. So actual conversion therapy. The bill will not stop professionals offering support to those exploring. So they might do it sensibly, but I just don't see the point in banning conversion therapy. I can't find anything that shows that there is any going on. Unintended consequences. Yeah. Yeah, because you'd have to watch every single fucking thing you say the way that they want it to be. Because they want to outlaw anything that isn't, like, trans-affirming care. Disgusting. And this person is all for it. Nice.
Outcry. Liz Truss, I believe Liz Truss, to be honest, she wasn't in power for a very long time, so she might have talked about conversion therapy. We shouldn't really count her as a prime minister. Rishi Sunak, he said that there would be a ban on conversion therapy, but again, before leaving, he too, from the Conservative Party, did not ban conversion therapy. There has been an update in the new Labour government, which is that there is now a proposed piece of legislation. So this did make it, as I mentioned in the King's speech for this year. That was back in July when Labour was newly elected. So it's a draft piece of legislation right now. It's called the Conversion Practices Bill. The draft, as far as I'm aware, it hasn't actually been released yet to be criticised and then finalised. So it's still very early days, but a conversion therapy ban is slowly making its way forward in the UK. And that will include transgender people, unlike what Boris Johnson said, where it would only be for the LGBT community, which he said in his proposed ban, which he never did, which is fantastic there. It's a slight bit of improvement. I'm a bit interested in how a conversion therapy ban would fit into all of this, because in one way of arguing is, if you were to ban puberty blockers, which are already being considered to be permanently banned, then surely for a child that would be helping or aiming to convert them to be cisgender, so that would be a form of conversion therapy. The Cass Review also talks about a type of therapy called exploratory therapy, which is where you're strictly not allowed to directly experiment with your gender. So you can't wear different clothes of the different gender. You can't explore with makeup, for example, or anything like that.
Is this what makes you a woman then? Clothes and makeup?
Which are normal things that young trans women in particular would explore with.
Young trans women? Oh, I don't like that phrase. Please don't say that.
But instead, it's a very oppressive form of therapy where you would have to talk about how you would feel if you'd be allowed.
Oppressive form of therapy, and they're encouraging you to talk. They're encouraging you to say what your problems are. That is an oppression, bro. What are you talking about? This is so bullshit. You're lying. You're lying so much. How can you live with yourself?
Allowed to be a member of a different gender, so if you would be allowed to wear different clothes, for example, and other forms of different roles. That's
what it means to them. It's just the fucking clothes and shit. This is what I mean. What womanhood do any of us take on? What womanhood is inside of me or this person. None. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit concept.
In society. So trying to find any research about exploratory therapy for trans people in particular, it feels like torture in a way. You're saying that they're not allowed to do something, they're not allowed to properly.
It feels like torture in a way. They can't wear a dress. Fuck off, bro. Fuck off.
Explore or discover themselves or whatever, which trans people do normally before coming out in the first place.
Oh my god, that sent me. I don't even know why.
Especially as kids, and they're saying that they're not allowed to do that, but they have to talk about how good or bad or how it would feel if they did do that. So yeah, I'd be quite interested to see if they managed to do a conversion therapy ban and include trans people in it.
Yeah, but including that in conversion therapy is preposterous. And that's why, to me it seems, this whole initiative is just to get rid of anything that isn't affirming care. The fucking W-path model, which is not doing as well as you think it is.
How that would compete maybe or go against some of what's been talked about in the CAS review and what could be implemented from that. It's interesting to think about there. But ultimately, with a conversion therapy ban, that is looking to go into the right direction. In trying to research for this, because there's not been much news about it in the past few months, I have been able to find some stuff online. So one thing by the Christian Institute, trying to argue that if there was a conversion therapy ban, it would limit religious freedoms. We're trying to teach that being trans or being gay or same-sex attracted is a sin.
Does it have to be that? What if they're just saying, well, you're male, so you're a man. We don't see any way of you turning into a woman.
Whereas the Church of England has actually said that there's no place in a modern society for a conversion therapy ban. And there's plenty of other religious countries like Brazil who have already banned conversion.
It's also completely fucking pointless. You haven't even pointed to one case of conversion therapy happening. So why should I believe you when you say it is? Why should I think there's any point in this?
Therapy. So that's one argument. Interestingly, I found a Telegraph article. It's behind a paywall, so I couldn't read it, but it says that this was from October. So there seems to be something going on about the conversion therapy ban, even if it could be people afraid of it. And then it was saying that Labour's proposed conversion therapy ban, including trans people, could risk criminalising parents who don't want their children to transition. And that...
Okay, this is gonna... I need to brace myself for this.
It kind of feels like saying, is the sky blue or the sky is blue? It's like, well, obviously it would criminalise a parent who's trying to stop their child being trans.
I don't think that's appropriate. Like, if a parent doesn't believe in trans, like, I don't know. We haven't established trans. We haven't established what womanhood a trans woman takes on. It's not real. So aren't the parents entitled to their opinions? Why? Like, this is the thing. Like, we're so determined to shut everyone out of the world as much as we possibly can. I don't want to do that. If someone's transphobic, I don't give a fuck. Like, be transphobic. You work with me, talk behind my back and call me a man. I couldn't fucking care less. I've got my own life to live. This person needs real problems. I don't wish real problems on them because I'm not that kind of person, believe it or not, despite how whatever, but like, this person has no perspective because they have no real problems.
The same way it would hopefully stop a child from being abused, punished, or referred to services, conversion therapy services, to try and stop them from being gay. Obviously, that would be hopefully criminalising or...
Does it happen in this country? Can you point me to any examples?
Punishing in some way there, trying to prevent that child from being harmed. So yeah, I've not been able to read that full article, but there seems to be some stuff going on in the woodwork behind the scenes. That was only in the middle of October, both of those things, so the Christian Institute thing I saw and that Telegraph article. So perhaps there's something going on underground, maybe in the gender critical or transphobic spheres there, trying to lobby against this bill, but we'll have to see how that turns out because we just don't know what's going on with the conversion therapy ban and if it is going to finally happen through this government.
And if it doesn't happen, it really doesn't matter. And it's not going to affect you either way. If you tuned out of this shit, you'd be so much happier.
As promised. And I think for now, really, in this video, we have run through all of the updates that there have been since July. So I'll leave that there for today.
Amazing. I've been gaslit for 25 minutes and almost another minute. Lovely. Amazing. Amazing. Brilliant. Super. Thank you so much. Fucking useless. Anyway, I brought this up. I thought they were going to really talk about like what the Labour Party has been doing since they started. I fucking brought this up being like, oh, this will be useful just in case I need to compare and contrast anything. Fucking no point. Why do I do this? Why do I put so much faith in people? I need to stop. I need to fucking stop doing this.